Carla Smith is a recent graduate of the University of Guam. She learned of the riots while talking with UOG President Robert Underwood, a prolific writer and historian in his own right, who shared some of what he had learned.
Part of my thesis was on the contributions of African Americans here on Guam. And while I was talking with Dr. Underwood, he mentioned the riot, and I mentioned it in my thesis, a little blurb. And after I graduated in December, I wanted to look more into it. I felt compelled, led to tell the story because it's a story that needs to be told. It's been over 70 years, kind of hidden in Guam history and American history, and I think we can learn a lot from the things from this story. We can learn a lot.
What Smith learned was that racial tensions were already very high within the U.S. military and came to a boil just after the liberation of Guam in 1944.
And it happened primarily for two reasons. The first was because there was a racial tension between the two groups. And the military had a policy of segregation in the mainland as far as separate child facilities, separate birthing facilities. And the blacks complained about that. And the whites, some of the testimony says that the whites wanted basically the blacks to stay in their place.
The second reason, says Carla, was competition for the attention of the local chamaritas. She says this was chronicled in the transcripts of a military trial that was held against the men involved in the deadly riot.
Some of the whites testified that they felt that because they took over the island, that the women belonged to them, and that's in the actual testimony. And so the blacks complained that whenever they would try to get the attention of the local ladies, that they were threatened, both physically and verbally. So that was in the testimony.
The riots took place over a 2-day period, beginning on Christmas Eve through Christmas Day 1944. A full account of how it started and what happened will be chronicled in a local PBS special that Carla has planned for next spring. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.